All right. What's up, good people? Just make sure everything is computing the way it's supposed to be, and then we'll get started here. And we're going to bring Kenyon on here in just a few moments, man. But how's everybody doing? Hope everybody is great, feeling good, feeling great. And we're going to recap this whole Steelers draft, guys. We're going to recap it, see how everybody's feeling about it. Give me a few seconds like I always do, guys. Let me send out the link to a few special people, and then we'll get it cracking. And like I said, man, we got Kenyon on already. I'm going to bring Kenyon on here in just a second. Let me grab the stream, and we shall get it going. So what I'll do, guys, just so there's no confusion, between myself and Kenyon, I'll do the quick, introductions and things like that as far as the quick shout outs to the early viewers. Then we'll bring Kenyon on and then we'll go from there. So let me send the link out to both Leonard and Tony. And then also we're going to send it to my cousin Floyd. And maybe if Floyd gets a chance, maybe he'll get an opportunity to call in tonight. We'll see. But like I said, man, I got Kenyon rolling with me tonight. Tony was unable to make it, guys. Got some other things going on. Life happens. But he's always here with us in spirit. All right, so how's everybody doing, man? Got about 34 people already in here. So Kenyon, I know you can hear me. Hold tight. I'm about to bring you in. But really quick, man. Michael Garman, Jay Vega, Arnold Jr. Garcia, Laquan Lighty. What's up, Laquan? Talked to you earlier today on the Madden video. Boulevard Ware, Obi-Wan, Jerry Andy, Lance and Shield. Let's see, anybody else? Murata, what's going on, Murata? Steelers Cards, Mariana Papa, Jordan Mid, Leon Harris, Crazy Dean, Jay Will, Alonzo Johnson, 0469 Nut Power Rangers? I sound like I was asking a question, right? I was trying to read that. Scott Satodi, Jay Waller, Devontae Williams, and Jason Winningham. Good evening, folks. Let's get it going. Let's get Kenyon on, man. Let's start wasting time and get right into it. Give me a second here. Let me make sure Kenyon is live and kicking. Kenyon, what's going on, man?
How you doing? What's up?
Good, man. Good. Ready to recap this draft really quick, folks. And me and Kenyon gonna just give our quick thoughts, man. But just to bring Kenyon up to speed as well, what we basically gonna talk about tonight, guys. In case some of you guys call, of course we'll take your calls. But we really just want to dive into the recap of the draft. Kind of how we feel about it from top to bottom. The release of Jon Bostic, as well as what question marks still remain on the roster. One thing I didn't put in the description that we will talk about as well is some of the notable UDFAs that the Steelers, if we feel like they're notable, we'll kind of go through that. So we'll basically hit that part of it first, man. I'll throw it to Kenyon really quick, man. I don't think we saw this as a surprise, but what are your thoughts on the Jon Bostic releasing? What do you think that means in terms of the roster as far as the guys who were there and the guys who we acquired via draft?
Well, I think it just kind of tells you exactly what they felt they were lacking last year with the players that they drafted so far this season. They've kind of brought in people that are fast and can cover, and Jon Bostic does none of those things. He's not a special teamer. So you can't keep somebody that's not a special teamer. He's a thumper, which is what Vince Williams is, but you already have one thumper. So you don't need two, essentially, when you're running 87% of the time in a dime package or nickel package or 3-3-5, whatever you want to call it. Bostic doesn't fit in that system. He's a traditional 3-4 thumping linebacker, the same as Vince Williams, but Vince Williams is better. So it was once they drafted Bush, to me it was like, oh, okay, Bostic is gone. Yeah. But me already talked about that. Me and you already talked about that, though. So
yeah, boom, Mr. Boom Bostic, man. Oh well, no disrespect to him, but but like Kenyon said, man, He just doesn't fit the mold. It kind of reminds me, guys, of how we all were feeling about somebody that we once loved, but how we felt about Lawrence Timmons in the AFC Championship game. That's kind of what Bostic is. I'm not going to say that he's as good as Timmons was, but it goes with Kenyon's point, man. Bostic is really not going to be the guy. I think the Steelers are really wanting to have a guy that they could keep out there for 3 downs if possible. You know, and there you have it. Bostic really doesn't fit that mold. What this means for the roster, man, me and Kenyon and Tony was kind of chopping this up as well. Is it going to be Medikevich also? You know, is Dirty Red going to get the axe? I wouldn't jump out there and say that as of yet because he is, of course, you know, special teamer. We all know that. You know, Kenyon was making that point as well in that group text. We all know the linebackers, man, and the corners and probably even the safeties who are rookies, they're going to have to make their hay on special teams. Medikevich has a leg up in that. However, I kind of feel like I would rather see some fresh blood get in there. No disrespect to Dirty Red, man, but it's the same situation if one of these guys go down and we got to put him in rotation. I'd rather have another guy who's a younger, you know, more athletic. I don't know. I don't even want to think like that, man. I don't even want to think about one of our key guys going down in terms of inside linebacker. But what you think, man? I know kind of how you feel, but just to let the people know how you feel about Dirty Red. Do you think that his time is coming to an end, or will special teams keep him on the roster?
I mean, I look at it like, what is Medikevich's future on the roster?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically.
Mm-hmm.
He is a core special teamer. He gets respect for being a core special teamer, but he's not fast. So, as you can see, they're trying to get cerebral, fast players. And if we're going to use Medikevich as an example, then Sutton Smith, who we'll talk about more, is Medikevich, but he's faster.
Mm.
And he might be more relentless. And you might be able to use Sutton Smith in certain situations. The Steelers linebackers now, the Steelers defense now, you could tell that they want that defense to be versatile, hybrid, able to play multiple positions. Medikevich can't play multiple positions. You can't put him in a dime package. You can't put him in a nickel package. He's Vince Williams, a slower version of Vince Williams. So I don't know how everybody else, you can kind of see it. The writing's on the wall. Medikevich may make the team, but these young guys that are coming in, they all have two or three things in common. They're all fast and athletic. And I think Pittsburgh wants that on their defense because they want the defense to be almost like a chameleon defense that's able to do multiple things and play more man. And Medikevich, you don't want him playing man on anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't want Medikevich playing man on the quarterback. If he has to spy. I got the quarterback in that race. So,
right.
So, you know, the right might be on the wall for Medikevich and a couple of other people.
Man, especially if, you know, like you said, we'll talk about him in a little bit later, but if Sutton Smith shows that same grit and tenacity on special teams, and they saying that, you know,
mm-hmm.
Butler's already saying we'll be looking to, you know, play him inside and out, Medikevich might have to hang it up, man. Because it's all about upside, guys. You know, who has the bigger upside? Some of these seem to be more athletic guys, like the Ulysses Gilbert. You know, whether we think he's great now or not, that's not the point. But him and Smith, do they seem like they might have more of an upside? And I think if they show up on special teams, man, hey, man, it was nice knowing you, Dirty Red. No disrespect, but got to go, brother. Hate to be dirty. No pun intended, but you got to go, brother. I'm sorry.
I mean, he's been here 3 years. What else do we, you know, it's not like he had a shot. Remember he played, what was that, 2 years ago he played? He played in the Miami game. And that was his shot. So to me, I look at it like, hey, you know, they have to make moves. And I think they were thinking that, you know, this draft is basically a microcosm of what they were thinking the whole time. Because look who they drafted. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. Look who they drafted. So I like Dirty Red, and I would love him to still be on the team. I think as a special teamer, he can make the squad. I think he can still make it because he's kind of one of the leaders on special teams. But if these young boys come in and they're ready to go, because Sutton Smith, and you watch more film on Sutton than I have. I mean, you tell the people your thoughts on Sutton Smith as opposed to Medikevich,
man,
as far as the way that they play.
Yeah, man, I guess we can go ahead and talk about him real quick. 484, we see you in the queue, man. We'll bring you in here for a few moments right after this. Sutton Smith, to me, I mean, even if you look at the reports out there as far as, the write-ups, what I like to do, guys, just to give y'all a hint, I look at the player first, then I go look at their profile to see if what I saw kind of matches up to what the quote-unquote professionals are saying. But then also I'll double-check with somebody like Kenyon or even Alex Kozor, guys like that I know kind of look at it the same way. And everybody has the same thoughts. He is a relentless effort guy, tenacious. I mean, the dude is a non-stop motor. He has some skill. But the problem is, where I'm concerned, is his size. He's going to get swallowed up every now and then because he, on the outside, and maybe in the inside as well because he's, somewhat of a shorter stature. But I will say this. I don't want to compare him to this guy because I'm really not doing that. But Alex Kozor said something that made sense, and I actually had a different comparison. But Alex Kozor said, well, hey, man, think about a guy like Dumerville. And I would say, think about a guy like James Harrison. Now, I'm not saying this dude is going to be them. I'm just saying his size could actually allow him to be more effective. Because I saw a few plays where he gets underneath guys and his speed off the edge is an asset. But it's the NFL, man. It ain't too many guys that are going to beat James Harrison and a Dumerville type of guy. They're going to be able to utilize their size. If you're undersized on the outside, that's going to be a detriment to you. Think about a guy like Big Al. And I know, Villanueva is really tall, but what he can do is push guys right to the ground if they're trying to get under them. So, I have concerns about him, man, but I will say that dude's motor, his upside to me is going to be much higher than Medikevich. Just go watch the film. This dude is a motor type of guy. And I don't see that from Medikevich outside of special teams. So, we shall see.
His analysis, Sim's analysis of him is kind of spot on. The only thing I told Sim this, and I'm pretty sure you watched the film the same way, is that the comparison to Dumerville and James Harrison, it's not really good because those two guys were low trunk guys. What I mean is they were big.
Yeah.
They were little, but they were more stocky. Sutton Smith is stocky, uses his speed, but he gets ate up by offensive linemen a lot. He got ate up a lot at the Senior Bowl. I noticed that. I told him that.
Yeah.
That he couldn't get off blocks, and they were pancaking that Senior Bowl. It was it started getting okay, but if you're going to move him to the inside in a 3-3-5 and you let him rush, and you're telling me he can rush and get around guys and you have a back trying to block him, I like his chances. I like his chances against the back.
Yeah.
I don't like his chances against a good offensive lineman. He's going to have problems with Billy when they get in practice. Billy's going to just eat him up if they put him on the outside. So he to me, you can move him inside because he's 6'2". He's not big. So that's the analysis I got. Sim did a great job of really watching more film on him. I watched him a little bit. We kind of just delegate our responsibilities on players. So, I'll take certain people, he'll take certain people, and then we come to a consensus. But that's what we got from watching Sutton Smith. I know we jumped later into Sutton Smith, but as we get into the other guys, sorry that we jumped up. We just giving you a heads up. So that's how we feel about it.
Very fast, man, first step. If he gets around the edge, look out. But his size is going to be a problem. I'm not comfortable keeping him out there. I would say utilize him as a guy who has a multiple talent. Maybe we work him inside more, and then if we have to, try to pull him outside for perhaps a mismatch, type of situation. But I wouldn't be comfortable just keeping him out there, because even like you said, he's not even built like Ola. Ola is a smaller guy, but his stature is more of a James Harrison, where he'll be able to use his lower body strength and all that. And that was the other thing we said about Sutton Smith. He's going to have to get stronger. He's definitely going to have to get a little stronger. So there you have it, man. But let's grab the calls, man. 3 calls in the queue, guys. Y'all know the routine, man. Try to keep it short. We're going to grab 484. And keep in mind, Kenyon can hear you guys. So if you want to speak directly to him, feel free. But here we go. Area 484. Live on the air. What you got for us tonight, man?
What's going on, Sim? It's Jedi.
Oh, what's up, Jedi? How you feeling, man, after this draft? I want to hear it. Let us hear it.
Hey, I need to come on and I need to apologize, because I was one of the very few that did not like the Devin Bush pick at first. But I will tell you something that I think needs to be said. Okay, I like the aggressiveness that Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin are showing.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard everything from saying, they would never go out and spend money in free agency. They would never trade up in the draft. The last time they did it was 2006. And this is the first year they actually grew a pair and moved up to get their guy. and they didn't wait to get to see, maybe if he drops to 16 or 17, we might trade up and get him. No, they went full in, and they pulled off a absolute train robbery with the Denver Broncos and basically got him for nothing. I like the aggressiveness, and the more research and the more film that I watch on Devin Bush, he fits the mold of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's an old school downhill linebacker that has the new age speed that you're looking for, and he has the ability to drop back in coverage. I didn't see a ton of it at Michigan, but what I did see, I was impressed with. So I just wanted to come on, and I wanted to let you know 2 things: that I like the aggressiveness that they're showing this year, and 2, I wanted to tell you that I was right about Benny Snell, because I told you earlier this offseason that Benny Snell would be a perfect Pittsburgh Steelers running back, and a lot of people said no because he reminds them too much of James Conner. Well, no, he's more of a battering ram than what James Conner is.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that pickup. I think it's the most underrated pickup in the NFL West this year. He's the most productive running back in the SEC for the past 3 seasons, had practically 50 touchdowns in 3 years and over 4,000 all-purpose yards. And you're telling me he's going to be our number 3 running back now? I'm loving that pick. I'm loving the fact that we went in and we addressed the biggest needs that we had in the draft, which were the inside linebacker position and the cornerback position. We drafted 2, maybe 3, if you want to consider Sutton Smith an inside linebacker. We drafted 3 inside linebackers in the draft. We went out and we got Justin Lane, who's going to surprise a lot of people as the number 4 to start. But eventually he will be the guy who takes over Joe Haden's spot when he retires or moves on. So I just thought I'd come in, give my 2 cents on that, and let you know that I was wrong, and I apologize for being wrong about it, but I'm so glad that I'm wrong about Devin Bush.
Hey, man, we definitely appreciate you coming on, Steel Jedi. And again, guys, make sure y'all check him out, man. He did a great job with, putting up the mock videos. I appreciated it and loved watching those. So hopefully you guys are already aware of him. But yeah, Steel Jedi. And look, man, we all were wrong as far as, if you go back and watch the show on Thursday, you hear all 3 of us, me, Kenyon, and Tony, saying, man, they ain't never going to jump up that far. And the funniest thing is the rumor was actually for real. The rumor floating around that the Steelers were trying to get in the top 10 actually happened. So that's a question too, man. And me and Kenyon will toss that around after we get through the calls, man. I definitely want to hear from you guys in the chat. Do you think that was worth it? After everything has settled, smoke has settled, do we think the Steelers made the right choice by going up that far? So we'll come back to that. But the next call, man, area code 609. You are live. What you got for us?
Hello?
Hello.
What's up, SimFBallCritic? How's it going, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good.
I thought this draft was really good. You know, it was solid. It wasn't like, you know, that we didn't have like all the sexy picks, but you know, it was solid overall. You know, we addressed, you know, like, you know, what we needed. You know, coming into like before the draft stuff. You know, free agency and stuff like that. We saw free agency coming up and stuff and everything else. The other push pick I liked. You know, I liked how, you know, Pittsburgh, you know, like drafted, you know, out of their philosophy, you know, instead of waiting, you know, for their picks to come and stuff, they, you know, be aggressive and trade up, you know, 10 spots to get Devin Bush. I liked Deontay Johnson. On draft night, I was not, you know, liking it, but like as, you know, as I learned more about him, he could become Antonio Brown. Now I'm not saying he's going to become an Antonio Brown, but he could. The potential is there, and I can trust, you know, the Steelers wide receiver coach to, you know, trust him into becoming into, like, you know, a superstar. And then Justin Lane, you know, I like him. He's okay, you know. You can develop him and stuff like that. Benny Snell, you know, he just like, you know, he's just a Steeler, you know. And I think that's what we're missing, you know, identity and stuff like that. That power running and stuff like that. That bruising and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We can probably use him, you know, in goal line situations and stuff. And then Sutton Smith, you know, I think I can see him as like an outside linebacker, you know, like an edge player. I don't see him like, you know, like a James Harrison or anything like that. I feel as though I can see him as, you know, like an outside linebacker or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, man.
And I can see.
Yeah, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
And okay. And who else? You know, Ulysses S. Gilbert, you know, he probably gonna be playing as well and stuff. You know, maybe special teams and stuff like that. And then our last pick, Gray. You know, Gray from Maryland. I feel as though he can like probably get some competition with everybody else and stuff. And then Riley drafted a tight end. I'm not mistaken. Now that is the only pick I'm not really good, like, you know, agreeing with, because it's like basically a clone of Jesse James. And I feel as though there was like Mack Wilson and better, you know, athletic tight ends out there, and that's what we've been lacking, you know, in the offense as well. Because Vance McDonald keep on getting injured. We just lost Jesse James, and we really can't trust Xavier Gribble after that, you know, fumble from the Denver Broncos game last season. So,
very, very good point, man. With that pick right there, and definitely appreciate your call, man. We're gonna grab the next one, but I did want to comment on that as well. You know, if Kenya want to jump in on that as well. The tight end does concern me a little bit. I mean, the dude can run a little bit, but the more and more you look at the film, you know, he's basically wide open in the zone, which is, you know, I'm not gonna knock that and say it's easy to do, but basically I didn't really see a whole lot of situations where he just completely beat his man. The other concern is he's not a big blocker. And we know the Steelers like guys who can block because of how we use them when we're not, you know, passing the ball. Vance McDonald is good at that. Jesse James became better at that. Matt Spaeth was a monster at that. And like y'all said, man, if Vance goes down, you know, who's going to be the next one up? Is it going to be, and I can't believe I'm forgetting the kid's name. What is his name?
Xavier Grimble?
No, Zach Gentry, the draft pick.
Oh, Zach Gentry? Yeah, Zach Gentry. Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's potential.
I don't have the same process. I mean, with him, he's a project. And if you want to be honest, Jesse James was a project.
Yep, he was. Yep.
Jesse James came in the NFL. He was 19. He was young. And actually, Jesse James couldn't block. Remember when he came out of Penn State, he was a receiving tight end.
Not at all.
He was not a blocking tight end. He got better at blocking, and he developed. So they might look at it as a long-term thing. Let's develop him, see what he got. He's taller than Jesse, and you are right. He does run wide open in zones when you see him on film, and you never see him beating anybody. But it's a risk-reward type situation. They probably feel like we can develop him if we can't. And then you also have to put in the third thing. Maybe the Steelers go to camp, they see him, they see what they have, and they make a trade.
Make a trade, yeah. Yep.
I mean, They've done it before, and now it's starting to become like a pattern. If it's something we don't have, we make a trade in training camp.
He did it with Vance.
They did it twice. They did it with Joe Haden.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to kind of like look at it that way, you can look at it that way.
No,
so,
Haden was cut. Hayden got cut.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
right. Hayden was
they
cut.
did it with was it the other dude?
They did it with somebody else. Yeah.
What was the other corner from Cleveland?
Yeah.
Gilbert.
Yeah, they did with the other corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did with somebody. Yeah, Gilbert. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. So it's kind of like, you see what you have. Xavier Grimble, he's not a long-term fix. Vance McDonald, if he was a healthy tight end, I'd be happy. But you need two. You need 2 or 3 that are serviceable. And I don't think Zach Gentry will be ready. But you never know. I mean, it's. I wasn't a believer in Jesse James when he came. I wasn't a fan of that pick, and he turned out to be a serviceable tight end. And if you think about it, he actually made a lot of money. Think about how much money he made, being a developmental tight end. So if Zach Gentry, if he turns out to be that, I'll be happy.
Yeah. If he turns out to be what Jesse James was when Jesse left, great.
Yeah.
If not,
great.
If not, oh well.
Exactly.
But all right, guys. 5 people in the queue, man. We're gonna have to hold y'all to the 2 minutes or less, man. We're gonna have to enforce it. So let's go ahead and get started. 702. You are live on air. What you got for us, man?
What's up, Sam? What's up, Kenya?
How you
What's
doing?
up, man?
I'm good, man. So there's just 2 things that I wanted to say about this draft that most people haven't said that I like. First of all, it allowed us to get rid of a lot of bad contracts. I mean, y'all talked about Jon Bostic. He's gone now, right? Us getting Benny Sims. I don't see us keeping Stephen Ridley anymore. He was a liability. He fumbled too much. He was too much of a contract, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't really see us keeping on to veterans like that we have no need keeping on to them, because now we're developing dudes. So that's one thing I liked about the draft, and that's in every position. Inside, outside, there's so many positions that we drafted that we can get rid of older guys now. But also, if you look at what Justin Lane and Benny Sims are going to do, or is it Stills or Sims? What's his name?
Snell. Benny Snell.
Snell, right. My bad. Yeah, my bad. Benny Snell. So if you look at what they're going to do for our running game and our cornerbacks, us getting Benny Snell gives us 3 separate weapons in Jalen Samuels, James Conner, Benny Snell. They're all different things. You got a receiving back, an all-purpose back, and you got a power back. Like the combinations that we can do with that are going to be amazing. That's basically all 3 of them are what Le'Veon Bell was, except if you put all their contracts up, it's probably a fourth of Le'Veon Bell's contract, right? Then you got our cornerbacks. Cornerbacks. You got Joe Haden, who's like a man-to-man lockdown. Steven Nelson, who can kind of go back more into zone, but going to be our big play corner. And then you got Justin Lane, who can kind of do both, but he's bigger and longer, so he can go out and guard N'Keal Harry from the Patriots in Week 1. He can go out and guard and do like Julio Jones, like those big dudes. But that's it, man. I'm gonna keep it short. But I just want to say there's 2 things that I haven't really heard anyone say yet that I feel like people aren't really focusing about on this draft, and how that just goes to show how good of a draft it was in all 7 rounds.
Great point, man. We appreciate your call, man. We'll reflect on some of that when we get, when we chop up the draft, try to get through some of these calls. Right. So, guys, if we don't respond directly to what you guys are saying right away, it's just because we're trying to get through the queue. But I'm sure we'll hit it once we're going to dive right into the draft stuff after we get through all of the calls. Next up, 330. This is probably Duran. What's up, man? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. What you got for us?
Well, man, something I have found out when I was doing my information and stuff on Bush, his dad actually played safety. And it's one of the I think his dad had played for the Rams back in the day, but it was a linebacker that everybody said that he played like. Well, I think it was Skip reached out to this cat. Not only that, growing up with his dad and his uncle, so that's where his coverage skills come from. His dad by playing safety and just flat out playing linebacker. Like I say, it slips my mind of who it is.
And another Derek Brooks is his godfather, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's who his name is.
Yeah.
And so I looked at some film and stuff. If they taught him, what they know, he's about to be a bad guy. And if God willing, Shazier comes back, can you see both of them? You see that?
I got mixed feelings about that one, man. I don't want him to come back, to be honest, man. I'm scared of that back, man. I'd rather him live his life, man, instead of me being, and I'm gonna call myself this, instead of me being a selfish Steelers fan. I'd rather him just leave football alone, man. I'm scared of that spine.
And if anything, just coach.
Yes.
If you, because I know they'll give him a spot on there just because everything. But also, we finally got a 6'1" corner. You don't understand how happy I am because if you look at how we've been playing, besides Joe Haden, I mean, he still because he got up. Most of our corners are getting killed over top because we got I think the tallest corner that we have is Artie Burns, if I'm correct, and he's 6 foot.
No, it's Brian Allen. He's 6'4".
Oh yeah, he don't get no burner.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I forgot all about Brian Allen.
Yeah, he's still on the roster. Yeah. Brian Allen is 6'4". He's legit 6'4". He hasn't cracked the lineup yet. So.
Okay. But yeah, and then our linebackers that they got. We got some speed. I think the slowest cat that we picked up is our tight end, and he ran I think a 4.9.
Yeah. With super long strides at 6'8".
Yeah, for real. But I'm just saying, with how we picked this year, I'm looking forward to it. And I also looked at some of the 10 signees that they had.
2-minute warning.
A lot of people wondering if they're going to pick up more linebackers. I believe they picked up 2 linebackers, a corner, and another running back. I can't remember all of them, but I'm looking forward to this mini camp and everything else, man.
Yes, sir, man. Looking forward to mini camp. We appreciate your call, brother. We got to move on to the next one, but yeah, looking forward to mini camp, training camp. I might even have to go up there for one preseason game, man. I'm looking forward to seeing these boys compete. But let's move on, man, so we can get through these calls. We got 4 more. 803, area code 803. You are live. What you got for us?
Hey.
What's up, man?
Hey, this is Big Jason. I am very excited how the draft turned out. Of course, Devin Bush, very excited because I felt last year waiting around, we got burnt. There were 2 teams, Dallas and Tennessee, who didn't pick the get-up middle linebacker last year, but we got our man now, and hopefully that brings what I like to see, and that's more pursuit tackling. I want to see us sideline to sideline again. We were the number 1 defense in the league. Now, Justin Lane, I'm very excited to have a big, legitimate corner. Now, the project, I'm from the old school, I'm hoping that he can help us play a little higher safety there.
Okay.
It's a 6'2", athletic. Very good. Zach Gentry, like I say, I'm old school, so I like to see a big man like that gain about 45 pounds, move him on in tackle. The 2 picks that have me very excited, and one for defensive line depth, that's Isaiah Buggs from Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
And also Mr. Duran Gray, who I feel that will be a good backup to Roman Foster. That way we pretty much covered one person behind each of those 5 special guys that we have up front. And like I say, hopefully after the June cuts, we might find a legitimate tight end or a legitimate high safety. Thank you.
Oh, man, thank you for calling, man. I appreciate that. Dropped a lot of information on us there, man. Kenyon, and just to answer him real quick, too, Tomlin did say they might, entertain some guys on the roster. I'd like to see maybe Brian Allen, man, get a chance back there if he's not panning out at corner. Because I just hate wasting that type of body type, number one, speed, and the dude, is very similar to Justin Lane. He played receiver. Like, to me, a receiver naturally should have some type of ball skill. So maybe he can play a little safety. I don't know. I'm just pulling straws, man. But I would rather, just my opinion, I'd rather keep Justin Lane at corner. Since he seems to have played it a lot better than Brian Allen, I'd rather keep working him at corner. Let him get better and better, and we can have that size out there. And then, again, maybe try a guy like Brian Allen back there. We'll see.
Yeah, he's an outside corner. Justin Lane is an outside corner. I told you about Brian Allen because he came out the same year that Juju did, and I told you that I saw him while I was at that USC Utah game. So I saw them play, and he was a project coming in, and he did play safety at Utah for a spell. But I don't know if he's naturally gifted. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he has the instincts to play it. You know what I mean? To play safety.
Gotcha.
More better as a corner. He's handsy, but you have to remember. Everybody has to remember this. When they drafted Brian Allen, the Steelers were still playing zone primarily.
That's right.
And he's kind of like a press corner. So I like his chances better this year if he comes into camp ready to go. If you remember last year in the preseason, they played him a lot, but he got like a lot of penalties because he's handy and gambling and making plays on the ball. It's good to gamble and make plays on the ball, but you got to make the play. So I like Brian Allen. I'm hoping that he pans out. But Lane is the outside corner. I actually can see Lane starting very quickly and then kind of platooning, moving Steven Nelson in to cover slot. Or have Joe Haden cover slot in certain situations because Joe Haden is 30, and you can't, Joe Haden's smarts keeps him. He's really good against certain receivers, but they will exploit you. And you have Steven Nelson, Lane. It's all about Lane pan out, Lane, and then you have Haden there. Hey, let's go. We can roll with that. And they're going to probably move, Hilton and. Hilton will probably get a shot at like free safety in certain situations. You have to. We're running dime 80% of the time.
Right.
They're not playing 3-4s. If they're in dime, that means that's 6 DBs at all times. So.
Yeah. Make a good point there. I'm excited, man. I want to see what we got going. All right, guys, let's try to speed through these next three. 732, you are up, followed by 412 and then 267. 732, you are live. What you got for us tonight, man?
What's going on, Sim?
Hey, what's going on?
Off the road, man. I was keeping up with the draft, but one thing I don't like is that the tight end. I think we should. I don't know if how Kenyon feels about Mack Wilson, but we had a chance to scoop him in the 5th. Why don't we go after Mack Wilson so we can have 2 studs? I know he said he was a project, or it was a potential secondary first round, but the Browns got him now. And then another thing I didn't like was I guess after UDFA's, with the David Sills. We at least didn't even try to go after David Sills, or we didn't get David Sills.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see Sills.
Yeah. That's the other thing that got me, man. But everybody else, I think everybody else is good. I want to believe that Ulysses is going to be good for us, but still, I would have rather them try to get Mack Wilson in the 5th. But that's it, man. Just want to hit you up and see how y'all feel about that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate the call. That was a quick one, man. So, Kenyon, before we grab the next call, what you think, man? To be honest, from my perspective, I kind of forgot about Mack Wilson after I didn't see him, drafted first 4 rounds. I ain't going to lie to you. Once we had already taken Bush, Mack Wilson to me was kind of that guy. Yeah, like the guy that, oh, man, in case we don't. So I wasn't even looking. I didn't realize he went in the 5th round, but What you think, man? Should we have taken a chance at him, or were we better off waiting and getting some of these guys later?
No, I do not want Mack Wilson. I mean, I appreciate the call and I understand his point, but no, I don't want. I mean, why would you draft Mack Wilson? I mean, you have Devin Bush. You don't need to draft Mack Wilson. Every other linebacker you draft after that are people that you hope make the team that are secondary players, backups. And they were and also you have to remember Pittsburgh was drafting speed, and Mack Wilson is not as fast as Ulysses Gilbert. Ulysses Gilbert ran a 4.5.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And if you watch him on tape, he's fast. Like, he gets to the ball fast. So, and can tackle a little bit. So I would have taken him because he's a cover linebacker. And as far as Sutton Smith goes, Sutton Smith is more relentless. And as much as Mack Wilson, I mean, really, it's just a testament that Mack Wilson should stay in school. And it's not disrespectful. It's just his coach told him, you need one more year. That one more year could have helped him because he probably could have bumped himself up to like a second rounder or third rounder. So, or maybe even first, depending on how he played. So, that's just the way. And as far as Davis Fields goes, Davis Fields had already had a contract in place with Buffalo. He signed that deal fast.
Yeah,
as soon as the draft was over with.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
And we don't know what kind of discussions.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, and that right. I have to be honest and say that a lot of times, even in free agency, y'all know how I used to be one of those fans too that would say, "Man, we ain't go after." We don't know. They maybe Buffalo offered more money, or or like Kenya said, they probably already had that thing worked out. The Steelers liked them, but I guess they felt like, we're not gonna stretch to get them. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, man. Moving right along. Area 412. Pittsburgh, what you got for us, man?
Hey, what's up, Sim and Kenyon? This is Patrick. How you guys doing this evening?
Good. What's going on,
Pat?
Are you? I really like the draft we got. Now, as I say that, I always feel like the Steelers kind of hit and miss in the third on day 3. But as I say that, I kind of like the some of the picks. I like the Bugs pick. I think the Zach Gentry pick, at first I didn't understand it because I thought we could have got some other tight ends later on. But I think if anybody can work with a tight end like Gentry, it's Ben Roethlisberger. He can get him those throw him passes to places that he can catch it. I feel like it's going to take development. So I feel like if he develops and grows more with the organization, I feel like he can definitely be a great player. I do also love the Benny Snell selection.
Yeah, like that one.
I feel like him alongside Jalen Samuels, I feel like they're a combination of what you get out of missing from Le'Veon. I feel like Benny Snell's downhill runner, I think, with Samuels, he's your Swiss Army type guy, can catch the ball, can block, can run as well. So I think with him, Connor, and Snell, I think that's perfect for us. I felt like we missed out on offensive tackle though, especially in the 6th round. I would have loved us to draft. I would have loved if we drafted David Edwards out of Wisconsin. You can't go wrong with drafting offensive tackles from Wisconsin, Notre Dame, or Stanford. It's facts. And I felt like we could have got him there. So I feel like we didn't address that need, which kind of really ticked me off a little bit, but digress. Still felt positive about the whole entire thing. And especially in the 1st round, I was shocked. When we moved up to get Devin Bush, which means one thing in my view, still a line from Dwayne Haskins, Sim, the league done messed up because the Steelers look like they ain't playing this year. They are not messing around. They got their guy. They are very confident in him. I feel like he is going to have the potential to be an all-pro player. One more thing. I don't know if anybody's not talking about the undrafted group. I don't know if they'll keep 4 running backs, but I really like Trayvon McMillan from Colorado, because when I saw it, I was like, he went to Virginia Tech, so that's how I remembered him. And I immediately went to look up his tapes and highlights, and I feel like he can add a certain another sort of level to the running back group. He can catch out of the backfield. He has some little pop plus speed to him. So I really think Trayvon McMillan is somebody from the undrafted group to keep an eye on, and I think with time can make a roster spot and really be a difference. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
No doubt, man. Thanks for calling. We added another call, man, and so now it's 2 more calls remaining. So we're gonna try to get through these. For anybody who's listening, let me say this: let's get these 2 calls, and then let us talk a little bit about the draft, and then if we got some little time after that, we'll come back to the calls. But one thing I wanted to say in regards to just responding to him, competition, man. To me, that's the theme of this draft, especially after you get from, say, 4th round on. Competition in every spot. Jalen Samuels might not be safe, man. Let's just be honest. They weren't quite sure. And I think they like him, but if somebody else comes in here and is producing more like a traditional running back, who knows? I think he showed us what he could do against the Patriots, but I wouldn't necessarily call him safe. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
And the running back coach is his former coach at North Carolina State. So,
that's true. Yeah.
And then also the running back coach made a point. He said you bring in people because you want to elevate the position. So what you want is all of those guys to scrap over bones and to see to elevate everybody else. Benny Snell is all 3 of the running backs that are on our roster currently. All offer something a little bit different. Snell is, Snell looks like a Steeler. He does run like a Steeler. I didn't want Benny Snell because I thought he was like James Conner, but it didn't make me mad. I was just like, okay, so they're really trying to bulk up and be a power team when it comes late November. You know what I mean? When it comes to snow time and weather time and what the caller said about the running back from Colorado. I saw that kid play. So that kid he's different from the running backs they have. He's more like he can get away from you. You know what I'm saying? He has like a little bit more speed. So if he can make the roster, he's the opposite back, and they got him in as a UDFA, and that's great. I was going to talk about him when we got to that point, but
we'll get there. So a call dropped off, so now we got 2 again. So again, 267-919. We're going to stop after those 2, talk about the draft a little bit, and that might wrap up the night. And if there's other calls, then we'll take them. But we'll see. 267, man, what you got for us? You alive?
Hey, Sim, what's up?
What's going on, man?
Not too much. I had to go back and rewatch your video that you had posted because I wasn't able to get on when they were doing the 2nd and 3rd round on Friday. But I wanted to get everybody's take on Dante Johnson. When they took him. Now I guess the Steelers, it was reported, I think I read it in Steelers Depot, that the Steelers had him on their board in the as a 1st round pick.
Yeah, that shocked me a little bit.
I think I saw his name. He was like in the later rounds, like 5th or 6th rounds in most mock drafts, like going to other teams. But I at least knew enough about him when they picked him. I said to myself at the time, as soon as they took the pick, I said, "That's Antonio Brown." And one thing, and then I started thinking to myself, I was like, wait a minute, they got that 3rd round for Antonio Brown. I'm just putting puzzle pieces together here. I mean, is that kind of like the Steelers' way of saying, CAB, you're replaceable?
Same conference. He played in the MAC just like AB.
Yep. I started thinking, but that was just for fun. But I really did want to get y'all's take on how you guys feel. Maybe not this year, but possibly next year, depending on how our corners pan out. Because I personally think that Nelson is going to have a big year. I think that he was actually held back by how Kansas City utilized him and how poor that defense was. I think he's going to really shine with a defense that can actually get a pass rush, because I don't think that our defense is mediocre as some outlets like to point them out to be. I think we have a really good defense. In fact, I think Devin Bush, even though he's a rookie, that is a huge piece in the center of our defense. I mean, we're going to have the best front seven in the NFL. Even some of them, in my opinion.
I don't know. The Jaguars might have something to say.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Jaguars. I think they lost a couple of pieces, didn't they?
Yeah, but they got Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh. Oh my God, man! I ain't want to see that happen.
Dude, that kid is gonna be a beast. But what do you guys think if our corners do pan out? Let's say some of our younger corners, Sutton finally breaks the mold and turns into what they want him to be. Nelson breaks out. What would you guys think of having them let our free safety Davis walk, since it's the last year of his contract, and moving Joe Haden to free safety? And then I'll get off here because I know you guys got other callers, but I really want to get y'all's take on that. Thanks, guys.
Ooh, that's interesting. Thank you for the call. We're going to hold that until we get to the roster. We will actually answer that first, and then we'll talk about the draft. So really quick, 919, what you got for us, man? You live.
Hey, man, what's going on, man? This is JJ, man. I just wanted to get y'all's take on, so we drafted Benny Snell, right? Mm-hmm. And I was trying to see, do y'all think we drafted him for the purpose of having depth at the running back position, or having a running back by committee, or maybe an insurance policy for James Conner, because he's been hurt his first 2 years in the league. And if he gets hurt again this year, then you start questioning, okay, do we keep this guy around if he's going to keep getting injured? That way we draft Benny Snell. Or, is it just all three? Running back by committee, depth, and an insurance policy in case James Conner gets hurt again. I just want to get y'all take and see what y'all thought about, some of the reasons why we got Benny Snell.
That's a good question, man. Well, JJ, we appreciate the call there. I'm gonna actually write that down when we get to Benny Snell. We're gonna go through all of the draft picks. Let me write that down real quick. We will answer that question. Why draft Snell? I have an idea behind it. Well, let's do it, man. Y'all want to hear us get into it, man? And we like I said, I'm gonna let the resident scout, kick it off. I'm gonna just throw him the names, and I'll give my comment. But real quick, Kenya, man, let's address the first question about the roster change and making Joe Haden a safety, perhaps. I have one question for you because I can't remember. That Delpit kid, is he a free safety or a strong safety for LSU?
Delpit is a free safety.
Oh yeah, well I'm against everything we said about making Joe Haden a free safety. Let's go get him next year in the draft. That dude, man,
get that,
bruh. I remember sending Kenny a text about him when I was watching Devin White. I was like, yo, who is this dude? Because I didn't really know much about him. I didn't watch a lot of their games. Man, that dude, that's a stealer right there. That is a stealer.
Oh man. Like, the example I use this. You know how we traded up this year for Bush?
Yes.
I would trade up for Delpit.
Oh, man.
It's not even a question. Like, I would give up the first, a second. I might give up a first for 221 just to get that kid.
Yeah. So that's my answer. Good. I mean, I'm not against it. I guess before I throw it to Kenya, conventional wisdom would tell me that I don't see it happening. I'm not gonna say it wouldn't happen. I mean, if he's willing to do it, because I always said that about William Gay. I could have been wrong about that, but I always felt like maybe we should have tried him at safety because he did have ball skills. He just wasn't the best corner anymore. They didn't do it. But since they are talking about maybe allowing some of these guys to get work at safety, I won't throw out the idea of Joe Haden, because I'm assuming that Tomlin and Colbert are saying that with Joe Haden being the starting corner. But like my man said, let's say Justin Lane comes in here and he just turns out to be, I mean, obviously we're talking probably next year anyway. So year 2, he turns into a stud. We want to keep Joe Haden. We want to re-sign him. Maybe I can see it. It's possible. I don't trust that it would happen though. I don't trust that would happen. What you think though, Kenya?
I don't think Joe Haden is a free safety candidate, and actually William Gay did play free safety in the dime package.
Yeah, he sure did.
He played strong safety and free.
Yeah.
So he essentially converted during that period of time. But usually you put strong safeties and free safeties are people that are they're not as fast anymore. So they convert. They make the transition to play that like Charles Woodson did, and so that's your transition. Once you lose that core, that twitch, that core speed, you kind of but you still have the athletic ability. You make the switch. Rob Woodson did it, but you have to have that ability to do that. And I don't see Joe Haden as one of those people. I think Joe Haden is a corner that you can put him in the slot, and he can cover like certain slot positions because he's not big enough. You know what I mean? He's not big enough to play like one of those safety spots. Whereas like he's not thick. If you look at Joe Haden, he's not really thick. You know what I mean? He's kind of like, you know, he's like a not petite, but he's kind of more cut. So I don't see him playing safety. It will be. I mean, I guess if they want to expand the defense, but I'm not high on that. I think Joe Haden really. It really depends on Justin Lane, like you said. To me, Justin Lane is the wild card because if Justin Lane comes in and he's a stud, all this stuff is mute because
right.
Joe Haden has like two good years in him to me, but they drafted Justin Lane to replace Joe Haden. That's why you draft him. You draft him to replace Joe Haden. So, you know, and like you said, and like me in my mind is like I'm already on like, yeah, let's get Delpit. Let's get that kid because he's a legit 6'2", 6'3", running a 4. He's probably running like a 4.4, 4.3, and he'll hit you. But as we'll get into later, there's an unrestricted free agent that might change that narrative. So,
absolutely. Well, guys, we're gonna dive right into this draft stuff. 770. I see you in the queue, man. We're gonna have to bring you in after we knock out the draft. We prolonged this long enough. Really quick, in Night Wolf, we're gonna get to this in a moment, right after Devin Bush. You know, and I'll prep Kenyon. He's saying he didn't really like the tape of Deontay Johnson against Miami. I actually disagree with that. I think he actually did look pretty good in that game. Considering, I mean, I wonder sometimes, guys, as fans, what are we looking for when we look at these guys? You know, only reason why I say that is because I always say this on the show. I've matured and I've grown as a fan. I used to be, you know, one of those 7, 8, 9 years ago. Oh, he sucks. Oh, this dude ain't good. Oh, they picked the wrong guy. Oh. But then when I started really looking at every aspect of the game, of the play, how they won, how they lost, why did they drop the ball, what does his first step look like, what does his route running look like, how well is he, how close is he to a guy when he's covering a guy in man coverage. I look at all of this stuff to decide if a player has potential. I don't think the great player always just jumps out in front of you. I mean, again, go back and look at the film of Antonio Brown before he was drafted. He wasn't this guy. He wasn't this guy. He had potential.
No, he wasn't.
And to me, I think that's what draft picks are all about, is potential. You know, it's not always you're going to draft the best guy in college. I mean, listen, and Kenyon, I promise you I'm not trying to pick on your guy. I promise. It just came to mind. But even Kenyon said it the other day. Matt Leinart, I mean, come on, man. My man got off in college, but he gets in the league and he's just not that. You know, so Jamarcus Russell. You know, even though I didn't really think he was that great, I knew he had talent, but you just never know, man. So I think we'd be a little too harsh sometimes, you know, as hardcore fans when we're just looking at film and trying to find out if this guy is a superstar or not. But without further ado, man, I think this will be quick. Devin Bush, Kenyon. What's your thoughts on him in general as far as him as a player, and was it smart? Did you agree with him going up that far to get Devin Bush?
Me and you, I think we talked about it. I said they wouldn't trade, and you said they wouldn't trade, but we both said that they should trade. He was worth it. He was worth making the jump. We didn't think they would jump 10 spots like as a Troy Polamalu deja vu moment, but Devin Bush really is that guy. He really is. And for the people that were saying they watched him on film, and I always tell people, what are you actually watching? Because if you watch him on film and you actually watch that defense and you watch him, he was in every hole. He was there.
Yeah.
So, and as far as like covering backs, he was. If you look at, forget the highlight tape, just watch. Sim makes a great point when he talks about he and I. Sim will watch, like, he's starting to get into full games. I'll watch full games because I want to see everything. Because when I see everything, it gives you a whole picture. You know what I mean? I can't come in here with a half picture or just watching the highlights. Mm-hmm. But Bush is everything that you want him to be. He's fast, and as Louis Riddick said, he's the best player in the draft. And Louis Riddick is one of those people, you don't really see him pumping up people like that. Like,
no,
never. He'll tell you about some people. He never does it. So like when he made the last person he pumped up like this was Patrick Mahomes. He said Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago, before he got drafted, said he has unbelievable talent that we've never seen. And people were like, what are you talking about? Okay. And you see what happened. Devin Bush there's no difference between him and White. And Louis Riddick thinks that Bush is better. Now, I don't know about all that, but if you watch tape of the Michigan games, that kid is everywhere. Yeah. I mean, he's everywhere. And he loves football. And that's the only thing, that's a big thing. He actually loves football. And his father plays safety, and he has those traits. And if you look at his body, he has a safety's body if he slimmed down, because he's 5'10". You know what I mean? But he's a stud. He's what I call a lotto stud, like a bank on his stud. And, you know, when he walks into that training camp and mini camp, that kid's going to start. You know, I told him, I was like, yo, Vince Williams might not be long for that spot.
You ain't lying, man. Especially if Barron come in there and start balling. Ooh-wee. I'm just saying.
Hey.
But yeah, man, you know, I don't have much to add.
Yeah, we can move on from him. He's already a done deal. We know about him already. So
I did want to just give an interesting stat that I saw today. And again, man, I always big up these guys because they do great work. Steelers Depot. If you're not reading their material, you should at least follow Alex and or Steelers Depot on Twitter, which is Dave Bryant mostly. Alex put up a stat today, man, that said that, let me see, I got it written down here. Let me be accurate. It basically said there was only one off-ball linebacker selected after Bush. And he said trading up was the exact right move in that case. Wow, I didn't even realize that. Well, that just goes to show you that they knew that was the guy. It's very similar to last year, man. One of the callers said it. Everybody knows they were looking at Van Der Esch or Rashaan Evans. They go off the board.
Yeah.
And the Steelers didn't even make any attempt. I mean, they didn't even do a late round draft pick at inside linebacker. They just gave up last year. Went and got Bostic, and we saw how that worked out. And Bostic, you know, he was great, decent against the run, but he just wasn't the guy. This year, they identified him, and listen, man, I didn't think, I was hesitant, and we all said it. I didn't want him to go up that far. I thought it would cost way too much. They ended up getting out of there with not too much damage. The second round pick to me wasn't that bad, seeing that, you know, that you didn't have to include that third round pick and to give up a third for next year. Not bad. But I think Devin Bush, man, guys, if you haven't watched him, just go watch him. That kid's closing speed. I mean, he's one of them dudes that you could just see demeanor in his play. How he approaches the ball. Like even our linebacker coach, I can't never pronounce his last name. I'm going to just say Jerry. Jerry O. He said Devin Bush doesn't play sideline to sideline. He runs through sideline to sideline. Like, my man's coming with a purpose. You see it. He is coming with intentions. He ain't playing no games, man. I love it.
Yeah. And
we shall see. Moving on. In the third round, first pick of the third round for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they select Deontay Johnson, wide receiver, out of Toledo. I'm going to be real quick with my assessment because I want to hear Kenyon break it down for you guys. I didn't know who he was. I think we said that on the show on Saturday or Friday, whenever we did that. I didn't know who he was, so I was a little shocked. I was expecting to hear a different name at that spot. Not necessarily bashing him as a player. It's just I was expecting maybe that was going to be the Justin Lane pick right there, or maybe that was going to be one of these other guys that was still sitting there, one of the receivers. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So the name kind of took me by surprise. I was like, who was that? I went and watched his tape. First thing I noticed, you look at his potential, this dude is eerily similar to what we see in Antonio Brown. I'm not saying he's Antonio Brown. I'm just talking about the way he plays. That man's first step off of the line, that little shiftiness, pretty crazy. Now, some people are going to say, what he's playing in the Mack. Okay. So did Antonio Brown. So did Ben Roethlisberger. So did James Harrison. I'm just saying, that's almost apples to apples with AB and this guy. They both played against the same level of competition, and look what AB turned out to be. And I don't know for sure, man. I'm just saying Johnson looks like he may have modeled his play style after Antonio Brown, because you see a lot of that movement. When you watch him, you like, whoa, that's a little AB-ish right there. How he beats the press. Now, he is smaller, so there's going to be times that he can get jammed up if somebody gets his hands on him. But footwork, shiftiness, after the catch, I see a lot of potential there. He's going to have to work with his catch radius. There were some balls I watched a couple games where they're like, ones like this, hits his hands, doesn't catch it. There was another one across the middle, he's wide open, he has to leap for it, hits both hands, he doesn't catch it. Those type of things he's going to have to work on. But I've seen him make some great catches, and I just like the way he works off of press. His first step, man, he was spinning people around like nobody's business. So I like the potential there. It's just, like I said, I didn't know who he was, so I wasn't feeling good about that pick during the show. You guys saw it. All of us reacted live like, what? But after watching him, okay, we'll see. What you think, Kenya, man? Did you get a chance to check him out a little bit?
Yes, I did. I watched 2 games from him. I watched the game that you sent me specifically, and I watched another game with him, and I watched the Miami game. I watched the Miami game today. So to refer back to what what Nightwolf said, that he didn't think he was impressive. I was like, I guess the question would be, what part of the game did you watch? What part of the tape did you watch? Because the kid is really good, and he was killing the draft pick Michael Jackson, who was trying to guard him. He was killing him. And I'm going to just put this out there. When you look at these players, you have to also understand who they're working with. Their quarterback with Toledo was trash.
Garbage.
No disrespect. But he was garbage. He could not throw the ball down the field. So imagine that kid with his first step. And everything Sim said, I'm just echoing it. And if you watch him, you know what he has? He has a little bit more than AB in the open field. He has like, AB's cuts were like refined cuts when he gets you in the open field. He makes them look bad. This kid, he got a little bit of juke. He can like step back and make the double move, like that double type move, like that kind of like that Tyreek Hill type stuff. You know what I mean? Like I make one cut, I go the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like he has that in his game. Now he's not as fast as Tyreek Hill, but as the Steelers wide receiver coach said at the press conference, the kid plays fast, and he does play fast, and it shows up on film. He looks faster than James Washington to me.
Yes,
just watching both of them.
Immediately fast.
Immediately, so he has to work on his strength, and that's pretty much it. But his route running is A+. And actually, where people had him going in the 4th and the 5th as far as mock drafts, the scouts didn't. The scouts gave him a first-round grade.
Yeah.
All the NFL scouts. So what does that tell you? This kid was like a sleeper. So, and he's really an X. He's an X, and he can play multiple positions because they had him at the X. He actually doesn't even play slot that much. He actually didn't play slot that much. So he has to work on what Sim said. Is everything is correct. He has to work on some of those concentration issues with the ball.
Yeah.
But hey, man, I'll take that kid and just let him sit. I mean, the person who should be worried is Eli Rogers. The person who should be worried is our other slot receiver. They might have an issue. James Washington might have to worry because he's explosive, and I love that about him. He's explosive. He has like that little, and his kick returns is. I watched him run a 98-yard kick return back, and I didn't see nobody catch him. That's all I have to say.
Was out,
and he's from the Mack, and Pittsburgh likes drafting from the Mack. So if you want to, like he named those people. We also got Ulysses from the Mack. We also got Sutton Smith from the Mack. So there you go. That's all I got to say about Deontay Johnson. Love it. I was like Sim. I was worried about pick. We both said what? Because I wanted my personal favorite, but
yeah, I didn't know who he was.
Favorite. I would have. Yeah, well, I would take. I would. Me and you were talking about either getting. We were hoping Butler would be there because Butler didn't go till late. He went after that later.
Yeah, man.
So we could have got Butler. We could have got.
We all know who we wanted right there, though. I'm trying to dodge the question. I'm trying to avoid that topic, but we all know we thought Winnow was going to be the guy, man. And
yeah.
I hate to see him go to the Patriots, man. I know we said that on the show Friday, but from you guys who didn't hear it, just really quick. I think I just fell in love with him just jumping off of the screen as I was watching Devin Bush tape. I was like, whoa, who's that?
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, that's Winovich. And I saw his motor, and it just reminded me of a TJ Watt type of effort type of guy. I don't know if he really would have fit with, I don't know for sure. Probably, but it's hard for me to say the Steelers missed, if that makes sense. I think they did go after a guy who I believe is going to help us in a lot of areas. Of course, I would have loved to maybe have got Winovich, but here's the thing, and you can go ahead and pick up right on the next one, Kenyon. I'll throw it to you. We did take Justin Lane. That kind of made me feel a little bit better because I was like, oh, okay, so they still drafted for need. So we can look at the second round, well, technically the third, but let's just say our second pick. We can look at that guy and say, well, who was that? But then they won me back a little bit with the Justin Lane pick. So what's your thoughts on that one, man?
I mean, it's kind of like Justin Lane was rated higher than and Justin Lane technically shouldn't have been there. But as we were watching the draft, we saw the corners start to fall. We talked about it on the first day of the draft. Remember, we said the corners are falling. Yep. So when the corners started to fall, that pushes everybody else down. So Lane, if the corners went early, probably would have went in the second, and we wouldn't have gotten him because it's been the second-round pick. And we had to make the move to get Bush, and it was just fortunate for us that Lane is still there. And Lane is feisty. He's a straight baller. I think he has the makeups to be a stud cornerback. Has to work on certain things, but he can turn his hips. That's the one thing I saw when I watched him. And what's so funny about that is I watched Michigan versus Michigan State. So I scouted 4 players in one game.
Yeah.
I scouted Lane. I scouted Winnow. I scouted Gentry, the tight end, and I scouted Bush in the same game. And Lane was putting in work. You know what I'm saying? So I like that pick. I love that pick. But the reality of the situation is when you trade out, it was probably impossible for them to get Winnow unless they would have traded back in. And Colbert said he was fine not trading again, which he didn't do. We didn't think they were going to use all 9 picks after the first trade.
Shocking.
And they did. They did. So I wanted Winnow too. I think Winnow is better than Elmer. I've told some this before. I think he's better than Elmer right now coming in because he's a straight pass rusher, and it would have been so nice to see him paired along with TJ. But the reality is, is, and I told Sim this too. When they paid Elmer that money, the urgency to draft the outside linebacker was not high. The writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
So I love the Lane pick, and I hit it back to you for the next guy because those three guys to me are like I like all three of those picks.
Yeah, man. So I'll take the next one, Benny Snell, man, and I watched his film, and like Kenya said earlier, man, and I'm getting more into the habit of trying to watch whole games too because you can see everything. Like Kenya said, he saw everybody in the Michigan State, but thankfully enough, a lot of people do these cut-ups, and I watch those a lot when I'm looking at one guy, especially now post-draft. So I watched probably about 3 games of Benny Snell. I'm going to go back tonight maybe and I want to go back and look at some 2017 film too, just to see if these guys were like breakout players in 2018 or if they consistency, kept going or they showed that they were good then and got better. But this dude, man, I just like his power. This is a downhill. Oh, man. I actually today, man, I ended up watching, somebody posted a video of Ben Roethlisberger in his rookie season when the Patriots came to town. And they were 6-0, I think, and we were 5-1. And they basically said, this was the game that made Roethlisberger famous. But in watching that game, it was about a 12-minute video. I saw when they handed the ball off to Jerome Bettis a few times, and I was like, man, I miss the days of smash mouth football when it has to be. James Conner got some of that in him now. Let's not get it twisted. Conner got a little bit of that in him, but the difference to me with Conner is a lot faster than people think in terms of getting to the hole. Conner has a lot of pop. He's quick, boom, boom, and he's out. You might not outrun nobody, but he gonna get through the hole. He gonna get that 5, 6, 7 yards really quick, and he will lower the shoulder on you. But this dude, Benny Snell, to me kind of reminds me. Y'all remember when Chicago had Marion Barber, and you was like, okay, it's fourth quarter, bring in the Barber. That's what I see Benny Snell being for us when we got to grind it out, or a legitimate third short yardage back. Now we can say, all right, let's bring Big Boy in, but he's really nice. He's not like, I forget the dude's name. Remember that year we just brought that guy in? He was like an undrafted free agent, and all we used him for was that. That ain't Benny Snell. This dude,
I know you're talking
forget
about,
the dude's name, man, but Snell to me is talented. He has quick feet. He ain't gonna outrun nobody, but he runs with a purpose. I love it. I love that pick. Again, he's not the starter, so I want people to remember that. I've seen people criticizing it. I'm like, dude, he's not the starter. How y'all upset about that? But I love it, man. I love the power. I love the quick feet, and I love his demeanor. And it just reminds me of that old school. We gonna hand it off. We gonna line up, and y'all remember this, man. I'm gonna say this, and then we can move on. One of my favorite games of Le'Veon Bell's career, and I know most people are gonna say the Buffalo game, but it won't even that one. Y'all remember that game, man, when we was at Tennessee? Think this might have been maybe his second or third year, and you can hear Tennessee. Yeah, you can hear Tennessee's team saying, it's the same play. They running the same play. And they couldn't stop it. That right there was modern day smash mouth. I love that game. We ran it down their throat. That's the feeling that Benny Snell gives me, is that hand it off, line up man to man, just let him do his thing. I look forward to it, man. I think he's gonna do what we need him to do for us.
I'll give my 2 cents on it. He said it, I can't say it better than Tim did. But let me just look. That kid, Benny Snell, looks for contact. And people like that, you love those players. And he kind of reminds me of, you remember when we played Chicago 3 years ago and we lost in overtime, and that the big back from Chicago just kept killing us. Remember? He got the big run. He got the big run in the fourth.
Jordan Howard.
He got the big run in Jordan Howard. He was just bowling us over in the fourth. Remember, we couldn't tackle him. And that's what Benny Snell is. He's like that. You know what I mean? And he's a little bit thicker. He's thicker than Conner. And and I think it's it's a great pickup for him being the third back. And actually, if you really think about it, he has a chance to be the second back because if he's durable, he can be the second back. And Pittsburgh just wants to get those backs that can pound you and hurt you. He kind of reminds, you know what he is? He's kind of like Deuce Staley.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Deuce Staley?
Yeah.
Kind of like Deuce Staley.
Kind of built like that, too. Short and stocky.
Yeah. Short and stocky. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say he's like, what's the kid with the dreads that we had a couple of years ago that backed up Le'Veon?
Blunt.
No.
With the dreads?
From Carolina. Yeah, from Carolina. That rushed for, when Le'Veon went out, he rushed for like, he was killing. Just left. He left us 2 years ago. You know what I'm talking about. But
he played with Carolina.
But he was a little bit faster. He played with Carolina, then he came to Pittsburgh. Remember?
Was it
He played with
Todman?
Carolina, he came to Pittsburgh.
Not Todman, was it?
No, it's
D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah, D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Williams and Benny Snell are similar. I would say D'Angelo a little bit faster. A little bit more pop. You know what I mean? A little bit more pop. But they run similar. Looking for the, you know what I mean? Looking for some contact, you know, and I think it's a sleeper pick to me. It's a sleeper pick. It's a little sneaky pick that can help us out when it gets to November, and it's gonna really help us out. So I'm with you. I couldn't say no better than that. I watched Kentucky play a couple of times, so I already knew about him because I watched it because I was scouting Josh Allen, which I told Sim about Josh Allen when I was like, yo, just Josh Allen. But I was watching all those guys, Lonnie Johnson and all of them. Kentucky has talent. That dude down there is accumulating talent. So, I would agree with you on Benny Snell. Good pick, real good pick, solid.
I can't remember that dude's name. Everybody's putting names in the chat. I can't. He was a UDFA, I think. I think he wore maybe number 38, and I think Tomlin used to call him.
If you give me the year.
Maybe 2 years ago. I think Tomlin used to call him like the mini nightmare or something like that. And we always brought him in short yardage every time. 3rd and 1, here he come. I can't remember that dude's name, man. But everybody was saying Blunt, and it wasn't him. It wasn't D'Angelo Williams. It wasn't Jonathan Dwyer. As soon as somebody says his name, I'll be like, there you go, that's him. Might have been 3 years ago.
Okay, I'm looking at the depth chart.
Wasn't Isaac Redman.
Let me see.
Nope.
Wasn't Redman. Redman was a fastback.
I think Tomlin called him like the mini something nightmare. What was that dude's
Yeah, because
name,
if you think about the guy I'm thinking about, he went to Azusa Pacific. Like he went to the same school as
Terrell
the
Watson.
original Nigerian Nightmare.
There he is. Somebody got him. Terrell Watson. Appreciate that, Mr. ABS.
I just saw it. I just saw it.
I could not remember that dude's name, man. Yeah, well, there y'all go. That's who I was talking about. So basically what I was saying for you guys who missed it, I think Benny Snell will be that, but a much better back. Like, he's actually a real deal, thorough, hand off the ball, let him do his thing type of running back. More so than just a short yardage guy, but I think they'll bring him in for that. Speeding it on up, guys, because we've been talking a while now. We only got about 32 minutes left in the queue. Let's go ahead and speed it up here. Zach Gentry, I think we both kind of gave our opinion on that. I'll be quick with that one. He's a project. I think Kenya said that earlier in the call. He's a project. Maybe he could turn out to be a red zone threat. I can't say his tape is impressive. It just looks like he was college open a lot of times. He did make some wild catches, though. I'll give him that. But I don't see anything.
Yeah.
He's not Hawkinson. He's definitely not one of those guys that make you say, whoa. So, we'll see. And Kenyon, I think he summed it up perfect. Jesse James was pretty much the same type of scenario. I remember saying the same thing about him when I saw him at Penn State. Like, oh, this dude can get open. He can run a little bit. But he was very raw. So maybe this guy turns into the next Jesse James. And if so, and if Vance stays healthy, I'm cool with that. Anything else you want to add?
I can't add anything. I can't add. I mean, I said it. Jesse James he's like Jesse James to me. And actually, you remember the tight end that played for Penn State with Jesse James that went in the draft to the Miami Dolphins? thought he was better. And that guy and Gentry, they remind me of each other.
Good second.
Remember that kid from Penn State that went? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they remind me of each other. So they weren't great blockers, but he has a great catch radius. But Jesse James did too, and he was college open, like Sim said. He could be NFL open, and you have to look at it this way: we don't have big receivers really, but Ben supplements wide receivers for tight ends, and he uses them as big receivers. So you have to look at it that way. Tight end on linebacker, he's 6'8". If he can catch and run, he can catch and run without the ball. He can run. He's not fast, but he can run a little bit. And all you have to do is on that third and 10, he go over the middle. He's 6'8". But you know how Ben is inaccurate sometimes with his throws. 6'8", that radius is different.
Man,
so,
all I know, I got some advice for him. He better get a flak jacket, and he better work them abs with the medicine ball, because Ben is known for putting them tight ends out there stretching them, boy. Man, I thought Jesse James was dead a couple times. So,
oh man,
you better protect them ribs, brother, because Ben gonna stretch you. 6'8" too. And if I was playing ball against that guy, please throw it across the middle. Please. I'm gonna light him up. He won't catch nothing else the rest of the game.
You know what they call that? They're called he's running those IR routes. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like injury reserve routes.
Bruh. Man. Tall. That's all tall
that's pretty
meant.
much it on him.
Yeah, that's all tall meant to us. Okay. Yeah, run him across the middle one time. Yo, we won't have to worry about him tomorrow. Don't worry about that. All right, man. I think we hit Sutton Smith pretty good, man. But if you want to just do a quick synopsis for those who might have missed it, what's your thoughts on that pick?
We basically went over. Sutton Smith is a guy that I love his motor, great motor, very undersized. I know one of the callers said he's an outside linebacker. He's not an outside linebacker to me. He's an outside linebacker in the dime coverage if you want to blitz him, but you don't want him being in the 3-4. He can't play a 3-4 outside linebacker. He's not big enough. So he can get 8-ball blocks, but I love his motor, and you can't teach his motor. He has the same motor as Winnow. They have the same motor.
Yes, he does.
He's just not whatever. I think, like I said, like we said earlier, Medicavis is in trouble, but I like Sutton Smith. He's a special teamer. He has to make his hay doing special teams, and these next couple of picks are going to have to all do the same thing, make their hay on special teams. So, that's pretty much it with Sutton. He's a project, but I like his motor. That's it.
Love the effort, man. Heart.
Yep.
Heart and smarts, like the Steelers say. If he's cerebral in that effort, he's gonna make the team somewhere. They'll find something to do with him. But again, he's not your traditional outside linebacker, pass rusher. I mean, it worked in college, but I just don't think he's gonna be that successful, in the league. But like Kenya said, if you blitz him, that could be a different story. So I think he'll make the team. I think he probably will be a special teams demon. So we shall see. Next up, they want us to talk about Isaiah Buggs, and I got a confession. I haven't watched anything on him. I did find out that they said he actually led the team with sacks, even more than Quentin Williams, but, we all know why that is. I mean, Sue had a lot of sacks this year, too, because Aaron Donald was on the other side. So, I'm not, let's not act like we don't know those numbers are going to be inflated a little bit, but still, have you seen anything on him, Kenya?
Yeah, I've seen Alabama play. I watch Alabama play, more frequently. He's a situational pass rusher. He's a great rotational player. To me, if he pans out, this spells the end of our defensive tackle that should have been gone 2 years ago.
Big boy, Big Dan.
Yeah, Big Dan. This spells the end for him because he has a lot of power to speed ratio, but he was kind of like Alabama. Alabama rotates their defensive linemen. So,
right.
But he had the most sacks, and he gets off the ball, and he can beat blocks easily. So to me, he's a guy that you put him in a rotation with Tuitt and Hayward, and he'll be nice. I like him as a rotational guy. And obviously, our defensive line coach, who was Alabama's coach, knows about him a lot. That's why he got drafted. So I like him as a late round guy to come in, and I really like what I saw. I mean, he played real well at Alabama. He's done some good things, but I don't think he's an every down guy. I don't think you can play him every down. I think you put him in on certain situations. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, Big Dan, I have to say, is probably one of my biggest disappointments over the last 10 years. That dude's size alone, I was like, man, if we can get anything from him. And even the reps that we see that he gets pressured. In Tampa last year, that pick that Bud got, that was Big Dan did all that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's true.
A dude that big, if he could just have, imagine if he had the motor. Oh, my goodness, man.
Yeah, I don't think he loves football. And if you don't love football, it's you can't teach that part. That's the part you can't teach.
Yeah.
You can't learn that. That has to be in you. You have to, want to get up to people on him. And also, he's a disadvantage. He's 6'7", and you would be more apt than traditional 3-4 as a nose tackle. But even that's changing. Like, your nose tackle now has to be versatile. Aaron Donald in a 3-4 would be a 3-4 nose tackle in the traditional. But he's so dominant. It's just like it's Big Dan's not like that. He doesn't, use his body the same way. So, I like Big Dan. I'm pretty sure he's a nice guy, but change be coming.
Too nice.
So you better, if I was him, I would get ready. It's coming.
He like Big Mike on Blindside. Remember he was all soft. Yo, somebody got to push a button, man, and get him mean. Stop being so passive, man. Oh man. Let me leave Big Dan.
He's like what's my man name on in Wildcats? What I'm talking about? He's like the science guy. He was real big. He was like, I'm not doing it unless I get paid. What I'm saying? You had to really push a button to get him to do anything. So it was like, that's how Big Dan is to me. Same size, 6'8", 6'7". It's like, it's crazy.
It's a big dude.
But that's it as far as I like Bugs. I like Bugs though.
All right, guys. So we'll move on to round 6 and 7. Ulysses Gilbert III. My quick thoughts on him. Has speed. He looks for the ball. He looks for contact. Makes some decent plays. His pass coverage stood out. I mean, not only, and again, guys, when I look at film, I'm not just looking to see a guy make the play. I'm looking to see what he's doing. This dude was lined up against slot receivers quite often. Even when they was in somewhat of a base defense. No problem putting this dude out in coverage, so that's encouraging. Only problem I had with him, man, and I don't know if Kenya saw it. It's funny because, again, I gave my thoughts that I went and looked at some of his scouting report, and they said the same thing as one of his weaknesses. It seems like he kind of pulls up at contact, or it's like he hesitates a bit. He doesn't drive through the tackle. And fast forward or rewind back to what we said about Bush. Devin Bush will finish that entire tackle. Like, from start to finish, he's going to drive through you. This dude, in some situations, it seems like he was waiting to catch the contact. And I had, that's the one knock I had against him. Other than that, man, it's a 6th-round pick. I think he will be able to bring some competition in that room. Medikevich better watch out. Again, I think if him and or Sutton Smith is dynamos on special teams, hey man, Dirty Red might be out of there. But I think this is another guy that has some talent. He can play sideline to sideline. He has the 4.5 speed. So there's another project. So I'm cool to seeing what he becomes. What they can make out of him. What you think, Kenya?
Sim said it best. My analysis of him, I would agree with you. I did see that on film where he would not drive through. If he was chasing you from behind, he would make the tackle and he would finish it quite frequently. But as you said, they did line him up on tight ends, receivers, and backs. And he's really fast. He ran a 4.5, but he plays fast. And he's one of those guys that you really have to watch for, because if he can cover like that, you can do a lot of stuff with a guy like that. You can do a lot of stuff with a guy like that. How Keith Butler likes putting linebackers out there in certain situations.
Oh man!
And if he can cover like that, then that's a plus. But the part where he just pulls up, I think you can work on that. You know what I mean? That's a workable skill. You know what I mean? He can improve on that part. So I think his Sutton Smith and Ulysses both their pathway to success is special teams first, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But like you said, Dirty Red might be in trouble because Sutton Smith and this kid Ulysses is fast. He's a little bit slower than Devin Bush, but he is fast. He's kind of faster than those other linebackers. So it put him inside, let him play in that little package, and he's used to playing in that 3-3-5 because that's what they kind of ran at his school. I saw him play in the rain, and he was making plays in the backfield. Like the first couple of plays, he made like 4 or 5 plays in the backfield. I sent it to Sim. He was playing in the rain, making plays. I was like, "Yo, I like this kid." So good upside. Nice pick to see what happens with him. I'm interested to see him. I have my eye on him.
I'm glad you said that too, man. I meant to say that about the 3-3-5. I noticed. I actually meant to send that to you and Tony when I was watching it. It was like, oh, they look like they play a lot of 3-3-5. So that's another plus. We did some of that last year as well. So to me, I know it's not the exact same player, but just to give us something to keep our eye on, I think he's this year's Matthew Thomas, where we see the potential where, if he put this together, he could be something. So he's either going to be a hit or a miss. I think this is our Matthew Thomas of 2019. He could be a bang or he might not be nothing, but we'll see. We'll see. The last guy, man, I will fully admit I don't know nothing about Derwin Gray. I did not watch Maryland football for the offense. I was only watching Darnell Savage. And there you have it. So I ain't got nothing on him. It's good to see another offensive lineman come in there. Great. But I have nothing on him, man. Y'all can fill me in.
Yeah, I don't have a lot on Derwin Gray because I was like Sim. I wasn't watching. I don't even remember noticing him when I was watching the Maryland game because I was so locked in on Savage that I didn't pay attention to him. I think that I guess it's a pick where they say he's a project. I know they're talking about switching him to guard. So if they're going to switch him to guard, I guess he could compete for the right guard because I think what they have because the main backup offensive lineman or the main Swiss knife guy is B.J. Finney because he plays guard, center, so he's the main guy. And then if he can make the roster that way, that'd be great. But he's a project. He's somebody I'm really not thinking about. To me, he's a practice squad candidate. That's how I look at him. He's a practice squad candidate because Sean Surratt is going to have to work with him, and this is really to see if Sean Surratt has learned a lot from our previous O-line coach, our great offensive line coach that left. So if he can make that transition, he's just a project. But that's all I have on him.
Yeah, I got nothing, man. Well, all right, guys, we're going to wrap up the show here in a moment, but what we will do is let's read the UDFAs and then the tryout guys, and, me and Kenya will discuss a few of the guys that we think are notable. Keep your eyes on them. So let me read the tryout guys first, because they already last, so let me give them something first. Rookie tryout invites. Devlin Hodges, quarterback from Samford, not Stanford, Samford. Cardon Johnson, running back from James Madison. Shout outs to JMU. I know a lot of people who actually went to JMU, ironically. Floyd, my cousin Floyd. If Floyd is in here listening, he was a JMU grad. So shout out to Floyd and the Funk Brothers. He knows what that's all about. Steve McShane, running back from Western Illinois. Milan Richard, tight end from Clemson. Drew Desjarlais. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but it's Desjarlais. Desjarlais. Offensive lineman from Windsor. And Dwayne Wallace, offensive lineman from Kansas. Now, to the UDFAs. I think there's some pretty notable people here, man. Drayvon Askew Henry, safety out of West Virginia. Ian Berryman, punter out of West Carolina. Garrett Brumfield, a guard out of LSU. Jay Hayes, DN out of Georgia. Fred Johnson, guard out of Florida. Trayvon Mullen, running back from Colorado. That's one of you guys called about him. Alexander Morris, cornerback from Houston. Chris Nelson, a D tackle out of Texas. Trevor Wood, tight end / long snapper from Texas A&M. And Matthew Wright, a kicker from Central Florida. And then also, who's not on the list, who was added yesterday, P.J. Locke, safety out of Texas. Now, I'll give you my quick notables really quick, man, then I'll throw it to Kenyon. Believe it or not, let's keep an eye on this dude, Matthew Wright, man, kicker out of Central Florida. We all know how we feel about the Boz kid. Hey, man, Wizard of Boz. Hey, I don't know. So, we shall see. That's all I'm going to say. Let's keep an eye on the Trayvon McMillan guy. I'm going to actually go look at some film from him. I'm not as familiar as him as Kenyon and the caller, so I definitely want to challenge myself to go check him out. Fred Johnson, I'm hearing he's a pretty decent guard out of Florida, so I want to check him out a little bit. But Drayvon Askew, Henry, and P.J. Locke. I've watched the film on these guys. Hey, man, I like that P.J. Locke kid. I might like him a little more than Henry at the moment, but I need to watch some more tape. I like his versatility, man. Locke can play man coverage. He's a hitter. I mean, he launches himself into people. He's got some things he's going to have to work on. He's a smaller, safety. It seems like we can't never really find a big safety. But he's probably the better of all of the UDFAs right now. Keep an eye on him. But what it tells me, man, Kenyon, we talked about this offline. We look at the people who are behind Sean Davis and also Terrell Edmonds. We talking about Jordan Dangerfield, and that's about it. I can't even think of who the other safety is behind them. So,
Marcus Allen.
Oh, Marcus Allen. Yeah. That's right. Let me not forget him.
Evans.
Let me not forget him, and I know Kenyon's going to say it on here about Marcus Allen, so I'm not even going to say anything. I'll let him do that. But I could do without Jordan Dangerfield, no disrespect. He's a good tackler, but again, man, I'm all about young new blood, man. Let these guys get in there and work. I really like P.J. Locke right now. I like Askew Henry, but P.J. Locke might be my camp darling right now. I want to see how he turns out. What you got, man? Who's notable on that list? So who you want to keep your eye on?
I'm with you with P.J. Locke. I saw him in person, so my viewpoint of him is I saw him play in the two times against SC, and he made plays over the field. I thought their DBs played really good in that game. It could be a product of SC suck, or it could be a product of State pretty good. But I really like him because he will hit you. As far as Trayvon Mullen, I saw him play against SC twice because Colorado's in the same conference. So I've seen him play, and he made some good plays against SC. Made a couple of catches, can catch out the backfield. Nice feet, kind of quick. Really like him. I kind of like him. Kind of a lot. As far as the backup safeties, well, obviously Pittsburgh has a lot of high hopes for Marcus Allen.
Obviously, yeah.
It just kind of solidifies that they have a lot of high hopes for him, that he can come in and do a little work. And you know what? We can't judge these kids when they walk into the league and you already out on them because they didn't make a play in the first year. If you're judging players on their first year and you want to get everybody out, then we won't have a squad. So the reality of the situation is that certain people learn to develop later. And Marcus Allen in college was great. He was a really good player in college.
Yeah.
And if they're going to put him at strong safety and he can stick and get in our little sub packages, he is fast. He just, it just depends on can he make those plays. And, as much as I like Sean Davis, I don't love Sean Davis.
Nah.
I like him. But so to me, it's like Terrell Edmonds, the jury's out. Marcus Allen, to me, it's like a rookie year. He got a little run. And so to me, I like those players. As far as Jordan Dangerfield, love his motor, love the way he plays. but he was a free agent signing, actually an undrafted free agent. When he came out. So if you can bring in more competition, because the key word is competition.
That's it.
That's how I feel. We could bring those dudes in, and PJ can stick, or one of these other safeties can stick. Great. So, but Marcus Allen, they have big plans for Marcus Allen. So people in the chat, don't be surprised, because I think Marcus Allen is going to get a lot of time, a lot of chances to prove himself, especially in the preseason. Watch. They like him.
Wow, man. I'm looking at the roster. I ain't realized that. Let me see, 6 safeties.
Yeah.
Right now it's Marcus Allen, Jordan Dangerfield, Sean Davis, Terrell Edmonds, PJ Locke, and the Askew Henry guy.
Right. I think they signed Cameron Kelly too.
Oh, that's right. The AAF guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, man. I have to go back and see if I can find it. How many safeties did we keep last year? 4 or 5?
We kept 4 because we had 5. If you want to count Nate Burley, then that's 5.
Oh, that's right.
Or if you want to count Burnett and Burley, that's 6. So you're saying Davis, Terrell Edmonds, Burnett, Burley, Allen, and Dangerfield. That's 6.
All right, so on the high end, I'm thinking this year we carry 5, because they usually alternate corners. It's usually like 6 corners, maybe 4 or 5 safeties, or sometimes it's 5 and 5. I'm just trying to see, man, who has the best chance to make the team. Assuming Dangerfield is gone.
If you're saying corners, well, let's be honest. How many corners are gonna make it?
Exactly. Let me see who we got right now. And forgive me, guys, for not including some of the the 90-man roster people that we're just hypothetically thinking some of these guys are probably not going to make it, but it's a bunch of corners right now. So you got to think about Brian Allen, Joe Haden, Mike Hilton, Justin Lane, obviously, Steve Nelson, and then Cameron Sutton. Those would be the people you would expect, but Brian Allen could be cut. Artie Burns could be cut. That dude Jack Tacho, you never know what he might end up being.
Yeah.
This is gonna be interesting, man. I'm just trying to figure out the Raptors show up here. Out of those UDFA safeties, I'm gonna put my money right now on Locke. I think he's gonna make the team. I think maybe the West Virginia kid might get practice squatted. But it could flip flop. But just looking at the film, man, and looking at the type of players that they are, I think Locke to me has more to offer. I think you put him on the practice squad, somebody gonna steal him, no question.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Then you also have to factor in, Tomlin has already said he's not opposed to position flexibility. So those are spots. Think about it this way: you let Hilton play safety, right, in certain situations. You let Sutton play safety in certain situations. Somebody got to go.
Yeah, man. This gonna be interesting. Wow.
Interesting.
They brought in some competition, man. I can't wait. Preseason to me is gonna be one of the best it's ever been, because I'm intrigued by a lot of these guys. Wow.
Just thinking about it, I think Allen is going to get a lot of run, because they wouldn't talk about it like that if it wasn't serious. And if the safety position was that dire, they would have drafted one in the draft. They would have drafted one in the draft.
That's right.
They would have been on their board.
They had opportunities to do it.
Now, we'll argue if Savage was there and we didn't get Bush, different discussion.
Totally different discussion. There y'all go already. I'm sorry, guys. We didn't even get to the chat tonight, man. I won't be able to do it tonight. We about to wrap up here. But I've been keeping my eye on it. But I see there y'all go already. One guy says, let me give him his credit. Where is he? Freeman Marcus says Tomlin needs to go 12-4, no worse than 11-5 to keep his job. Man.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, guys, listen. What makes y'all think? Just look at the track history of the Steelers. They're not gonna do that, man. Again, we were wrong about the draft and the trade up thing, but they are not firing a coach after even, let's say, his first losing season. Let's say he has a losing season. I don't see it happening, man. It's just not how they do business. Every one of our coaches have had bad, tumultuous seasons. Tomlin has not. I mean, yeah, we missed the playoffs, but I think they at least give him that chance after having a horrible season to get back. So I'm not going to agree with that. I'm not going to say 12-4, 11-5 is going to determine his job security. Now, it can warm the seat. It can definitely have the brass could be like, okay, now, you're a great coach and we got great expectations. We need to see us get back to the promised land. It might warm the seat, but I don't think it gets fired. Not after one season. So, just my thoughts.
I don't even want to say anything about it. There's no scenario. Like, the scenario that he just said if Tomlin goes 7-9, watch and see no extension. I mean, well, but you're predicting something that you don't know the answer to. So it's essentially putting it out there. If you want Tomlin to be gone, then that's your prerogative. But as Sim says, as I say, if you rank the coaches in the NFL, what coaches do you put above Tomlin? Besides, after Belichick, who you putting above him?
Yeah. Plus, he has a built-in excuse, to be honest with y'all. If the Steelers went 7-9 or 6-10, it's the easy built-in excuse, even from Art Rooney, gonna be, well, when you lose the type of caliber players that you lose on offense, we expect it. And I'm like, see what I'm saying? So there's no way we talking about. I mean, we went 12-4 twice with back-to-back actually with AB and Le'Veon Bell and Ben Roethlisberger. So we're saying now that we expect the exact same outcome losing those guys. Now, granted, I think we might still be a talented enough team to get 11 wins or so, but I can't sit here and say I expect it, because we all, in my opinion, we all should expect the worst and hope for the best, because things are going to be different. Juju is a monster, but let's be real. Let's be football people for a second. Why was he that good? You got AB over there, man. That ain't taking nothing from Juju. He still made those catches. He still came up big against Jacksonville and the 2 97-yard touchdowns. He's still Juju. But now Juju is going to be Antonio Brown, because Juju Smith-Schuster is no longer, who is this kid? Is he good or is he not? No, now he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just see. How is it going to be? Is James Washington going to step up? Moncrief? Deontay Johnson? I mean, it's very possible that our offense doesn't look the same without those guys. So, Bell, we kind of saw how that was without him when we basically performed a bit better, actually. But AB was still there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I can't have no lofty expectations.
Yes, it's addition by subtraction sometimes, and now we'll see. Sim said it best. Juju. This is where we'll find out what Juju is right now.
Yeah.
Because he won't have that security blanket anymore. So, I'm trying to think. I'm thinking positive. So, I like what they're doing. I like what they did, and I don't see Tomlin going anywhere. And my question would be: is just do you know your organization? That's the only question I always ask people. Do you know your organization?
That's it.
What's their history? So,
Well, all right, guys, we about to go, man, because we got 1 minute and 36 seconds left. So let me be brief and say this. Thank you guys for joining tonight.
90 seconds.
And there she is talking, letting us know we got 90 seconds. But appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the views. I thank Kenyon for coming on. I know he's always willing to do it. So, but I still thank him for coming. I think this was a great show. Went way long, but obviously it's after the draft. So we'll get back on schedule, come next week. Or if I come back later this week for a Steeler report, we shall see. The last thing I would say, man, and let me pause for a second, and she's about to tell us 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
All right, there it is. Last thing I would say, subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button, help me out there. Hit the notification button. Share the stream, and if you want to donate, look in the description for your options, or click the $sign right there in the bottom left corner. All right, outside of that, man, we'll catch you guys later. For myself and for Kenyon, we say peace, God bless, have a good night. Catch y'all later.